Hello, I'm Kelvin Sawyer, and this is Eye on Broadcasting. During this segment, we'll be speaking with Bob Howard, president of NBC, Guy Mazzio, vice president of Blair Syndication, and Deborah Blackwell, unit manager of the original Saturday Night Live. Stay tuned and hear about what goes on behind the scenes that reveal the inner workings of the television industry. Stay with us. The cost to produce a television program has increased over the years. Bob Howard, former president of NBC, has an interesting story about how some of this money is spent.
We've come from a period of time when all of the advertising agencies did all of the production, going into the networks doing a lot of production, and then phasing out of that where they only did out of, what do we have networked now? We have 66 hours of primetime production between all three networks, and they have such a small portion of that. And I just feel that with the large investments that you have to make, that for them to make a good dollar return, it would be wise for them. And I think the caliber of programs would be better. And I think when you take it out of their hands, it allows too much in the studios. You've got to realize that these studios are tremendous. Take a Universal, and you go to their lot and go on the tour, which is probably their most profitable part of their business. You can see what I'm talking about, that a lot of the back lots and the major studios, the sound stages themselves, are into theatrical productions. Now, where's that overhead coming from? You know darn well that the underwriting of that, in a lot of cases, is coming directly from the television studios.
Coming up next, Vice President of Blair Syndication, Guy Mazzio. Television programs are thought of as grocery items on a store shelf to Guy Mazzio, Vice President of Blair Syndication. His business is buying and selling programs.
Make goods means I have a whole bunch of other shows out there that I also have spots that I haven't been able to sell. My sales department's a little flighty this week. They haven't been able to clear the spots. I'll give you a spot in that show. And if you cube the ratings of the two spots, you'll be more than better. More than a 5 rating.
What do you mean by cube the rating?
Cube is we'll add up. I give you you got a 3 rating here. On this show, you'll also get a 3. So together, you got a 6 rating. We will say that the spots are cumulative, or in slang we call it cube the ratings, and we will add them up. And that has been the name of the game for the barter syndicator: is get your hands on their money, never give them back cash. If you can help it, give them back make goods. So it started to drive this barter area, this barter syndication area, because now you needed places to give make goods. You actually reserve, as a business judgment, reserve a certain number of spots so that you can do make goods. And we joke about, each company jokes about the other company's shows and saying that's make good theater. And that's another joke that we have going around, where certain shows are out there and you know they're doing 1s and 2s and nobody's buying them, but you see them filled up with spots. So you know that they've done that, they've used that show to make good on all their guarantees, because they couldn't cover it in contract, because you can't say one thing and then take it away in a contract. So that's the game.
Coming up next, unit manager of the original Saturday Night Live, Deborah Blackwell. Production crews have everyday responsibilities that need to be cared for. Food, sleeping arrangements, and first aid for a crew that is sometimes large enough to fill a town becomes a major task. Unit manager Deborah Blackwell for the original Saturday Night Live.
I wanted to get into what I thought was the more exciting end of the finance and business function, which would be show cost. And we call it business affairs, comprises the group of people who create the budgets for TV shows, which are based both upon what you have to pay the myriad of people who are working under union contracts, and then the other players who have their own contracts that are negotiated by the lawyers known as business affairs people. And so business affairs function works on the cost of a program from when it's still in its thinking phases through its actual starting, through the production and post-production phases of a program, and then into the selling phase of a program until by the end you have a complete picture of the profit and loss associated with a given television program. Our function as unit managers started at the point when a budget, it was decided to produce a show, a budget existed for the show, and we as unit managers were brought in with the instruction, get this show done for this amount of money. Right. And if by any chance you're not going to be able to do it, start telling us soon, give us all the signals about whether you're going to be over or under budget, make the show, and then at the end explain to us why you're not on budget if you're not.
Right. Thank you for joining us on another edition of Eye on Broadcasting. Tune in again for another revealing look at the television industry. I'm Kelvin Sawyer. Have a good night.